Hello learners, welcome to One Stop All Poetry Solution. Today we are going to discuss Mending Wall by Robert Frost. This poem was written by Robert Frost in the collection North of Boston in 1914. So before I start with the poem, I would like to discuss a few things that is very essential to understand the poem in a holistic way. So let's begin. The poem is set in rural England. This poem describes how the speaker or the poet and his neighbor meet to rebuild a stone wall, ritualistically which they repeat every spring. This ritualistic proceeding raises some important questions which the speaker or the poet considers in the course of the poem and which we are also going to address as we read it. It is believed to be built upon Frost's relationship with his neighbor Napoleon Guay, who was a French Canadian. So his neighbor was of a French Canadian origin. Now coming to the title of the poem is ambiguous because the word mending can be used both as a verb as well as an adjective. As a verb, it signifies the act of repairing the wall, and as an adjective, it may imply a distinguished relationship which they share with each other. And before I start with the text, one simple line about the theme. The major themes of the poem are exploration, curiosity, and the need. What is the need? That keeps coming up throughout the text, you will see. Need for the gap that the poet or the speaker finds or has found in the poem. Now he starts in a very ambiguous fashion too. Something there is that doesn't love a wall, that sends the frozen ground swell under it. So the speaker or the poet begins with a reflection as he reviews the damage caused by hunters and the weather. So the wall is already damaged. Okay. Something we know that we understand that there are some unknown forces at play. Now, what is this wall? The wall signifies both the physical as well as the mental barriers. Physical barriers means the construction of the wall, and the mental barriers that we nurture them within us. The differences in ideas, notions, opinions that separates each from the other. Okay. That sends the frozen ground swell under it. So nature is against the construction of the wall, and as you see, nature is personified here. The frozen ground swell is the frost heat that causes the wall to break. Since it happens under the ground, there is a push upward that causes the walls to break and spills the upper boulders in the sun. And the boulders or the stones with which the wall is constructed, it is overflowing. And because there is a push, as if the stones are overflowing, it's spilling out and makes gaps even two can pass abreast. So the gaps are so huge that it makes space for two people to walk side by side facing the same way. The two refers to the two neighbors, means the poet and his neighbor. The work of hunters is another thing. So the work of the hunters is another obstacle. So one obstacle we have come across is the weather, and the second thing we come across here is the work of the hunters, which is another obstacle to the wall between the neighbors. So till now we are getting the impression that they are interested in the wall. The nature does not want to keep the wall. The hunters are also causing disruption to the construction of the wall. So nothing is working in their favor in maintaining the wall between the poet and the neighbor. Okay. Now let's see what is happening next. I have come after them and made repair. So the damage has to be repaired after the hunters have made the damage. The poet follows, and it is repaired by the poet or the speaker, where they have left not one stone on a stone. So the stones are not even in place. By whom? Who has done this? The hunters. But they would have the rabbits out of the hunting. The hunters have kept or put the stones out of their places, have totally disarranged them. Why? Because they want to get the rabbits out of the holes that are hiding under the wall in their burrows. For what reason? To please the yelping dogs, to please the barking dogs. The gaps, I mean, no one has seen them made or heard them made. So the unknown forces working on the wall remain unseen or unheard of. So it is not the work of the hunters. Maybe it is the weather, maybe it is nature that is working to bring down the wall. But still it is unknown. He is not telling it for sure. But at spring mending time, we find them there. So strange enough, throughout the other seasons, the gaps are not visible, or even the gaps being made are not heard. But at the springtime, the gaps glare at them, at the poet or the speaker and the neighbor. So the gaps are meant to be repaired during the springtime, because that is the only time they can come out to repair the wall. Now what else is the poet telling in the next lines? Let's see. I let my neighbor know beyond the hill. The neighbor and the poet set about to repair the wall. So the neighbor who lives beyond the hill is informed by the poet and they set about to repair the wall. And on a day we meet to walk the line. So on a day they decide that they have to repair the wall and they meet and walk along the boundary. Each has their boundary, one on this side, one on the other side. They walk along that without crossing each other's territory and set the wall between us once again. So the wall is again rebuilt. So the damages are repaired and the wall is rebuilt. So this signifies that now no matter what forces are working to bring the wall down, the people, the human beings are determined to keep up the wall. We are so determined to maintain the boundary. We are so determined to have the division, the differences among us. Maybe it is for good, maybe it is for our bad, but maintaining this division, maintaining this wall strictly, that is something, let's put it as something as a matter of discussion that needs to be discussed, because we are no one to judge whether it is good or bad. And why I am telling this, you will understand when you read the end of the poem, the end lines. We keep the wall between us as we go. So the mending of the wall strengthens the division. They are repairing the wall and the wall is being rebuilt. So it is strengthened. The division is strengthened. To each, the boulders, they have fallen to each. So both of them are busy fixing their side of the wall. I will fix my wall, you fix yours. I am not concerned which stone is not fitting in your portion, or you will not be concerned on which stone is not fitting in my portion. You do your job, I will do mine. That is the idea that is expressed here. Now the poet uses some visual imagery here. And some are loaves and some so nearly balls. So some pieces of stones are like loaves of bread, as you see here is the usage of metaphor, and some also look like balls, again a metaphor. We have to use a spell to make them balance. So there is nothing that can keep them in place because they are of different shapes. Until and unless the stones are of a particular shape, how can you construct? Physically try placing a stone. Physically try placing a stone, a round stone, one on top of the other. You will not be able to keep it in place. So what do you need? Probably you need magic, some kind of a spell, isn't it? So the poet or the speaker also tells the same thing, that as if some kind of magic is needed to keep them in place, spell. And what may be or what will be that spell, we don't know. He's just giving an instance and it's a humor that he uses. Stay where you are until our backs are turned. As if he is commanding the stones that stay where you are, at least remain in place till we turn our backs. We wear our fingers rough with handling them. So their hands, whose hands? The poet or the speaker and the neighbors, their hands have become calloused as a result of handling the stones and the boulders. So they are repairing, naturally due to the rough handling, their hands have become calloused. Oh, just another kind of outdoor game. So they seem to be playing an outdoor game where there is only one opponent in each team. They are fighting against the other, who can build their side of their wall, who can construct their wall, who can strengthen their side of the wall. That is the only thing that each of them are concerned about. There where it is, we do not need the wall. He is all pine and I am apple orchard. So, there where it is, the poet or the speaker stresses on the uselessness of the wall. What is the need of the wall? Everyone is matured enough, everyone has their own opinions and ideas. Okay, let it be. But why is it? Why does it have to be like watertight compartments that can be equated with the wall? And he is further telling by using a visual imagery that the differences are as huge as you having, you referring to the neighbor, as you having the pine orchard and I having the apple orchard. So there are no differences. And on top of that, you will see in the following lines he is telling that my apple trees can never get across to your pine. It is not possible that my apple trees will encroach upon your territory. That is practically not possible. And eat the cones under his pine. Is it possible? Physically possible? You tell me. So, here the poet is telling that there is no need of the wall. According to him, we yet do not know what is the idea of the neighbor. I tell him. So, it is his idea. He tries to convince him that what is the need. Now, what is he telling? The neighbor, good fences make good neighbors. So, this is a very important line, and the rest of the poem will revolve around this line only. Now, it is good fences make good neighbors. It is good, it means that it is good to have some limits between the neighbors so that their relations remain healthy at all time. But again, you should also consider this fact that why is it important, because if there is unlimited freedom between the neighbors, trouble will arise. Just imagine wherever you are residing, if there is not a separation, if you keep your doors open and everyone and anyone can walk into your room without even asking you, you might like it for a day or two, but how long will you continue liking it? Naturally, the relationship starts worsening. So, there is important that you maintain a distance, you maintain a fence, you keep a fence, there is a wall. But again, I will go with the poet who tells that the rigidity is not necessary. Let's see what he is telling in the following lines. Spring is the mischief in me and I wonder. So, spring here refers to two things. According to me, does the spring does mischievous acts by breaking the wall. So, the entire time, because it actually does not break during the spring, but the gaps are visible during the springtime, isn't it? We already got to know about this earlier. So, we can tell that spring is the season where the mischievous acts are found out. And the speaker has some fresh ideas. Since in spring, new life comes to the surface of the earth, new life, everything begins afresh. So, the speaker has some fresh ideas to convince the neighbor that there is no need of the wall. And I wonder if I could put a notion in his head. And he thinks that by introducing some fresh idea into his head, whether he can convince him. Why do they make good neighbors? Isn't it where there are cows? But here there are no cows. Now he is telling that yes, okay, fine, I agree with you, fences are necessary. But isn't it where there are cows? But we do not have cows, neither do you have cows, nor do I have cows. So the differences are reiterated. First, we got in pine and apple orchard, and here we are again getting in the possessing of cows, the domestic animals, where if you see that if you are taking the cows, I mean you in the sense that if you see people taking the cows in the rural areas for grazing in the fields, you will notice that the greener the grass they see, they will cross over to that side without even bothering whose it is, even if it is not the master's or the owner's territory, right? So for that reason you need fences so that the cows do not cross over to the other territory. Now they do not have cows, so what is the point? There is no need. That is the logic that he is giving. He is also telling, before I built a wall, I'd asked to know what I was walling in or walling out. The speaker or the poet wants to know what he is protecting and keeping out by building the wall. Whom he is protecting? Whom is he keeping out? What is the actual need? Again, the question of the need comes up. And to whom I was like to give offense. So not only I want to know whom I am protecting or whom I am keeping out, I am keeping at a distance, but I would also like to know whom I am offending by my act, by building the wall. Something there is that doesn't love a wall. So where did we come across this line earlier? We came across this line in the first line itself. This was where how the poem began. So it is repeated for the second time. That wants it down. I could say elves to him, but it is not elves exactly. And I'd rather, he's telling furthermore, I'll move on to the next page. So he's telling that, yeah, I can give you the logic that it has been done by elves. I'm sure, dear learners, that you know what elves are. So even you can see their images by googling it up. So he's telling that what is the need of the wall when even nature is not supporting it, when there is some unknown forces working to bring it down. Maybe I can give the logic that something or someone may be the elves, but we do not know it for sure. Let's see what else is the poet telling. He said it for himself. I see him there bringing a stone grasped firmly by the top, in each hand like an old stone savage armed. So the poet is telling that I would have convinced him that it was the elves, but he said it to himself. He said it for himself. Maybe he is trying to convince himself that it is for the elves. And the poet feels that he resembles, that is, the neighbor resembles an uncouth, uncivilized inhabitant who belongs to the Stone Age and who has weapons that are made of rocks or stones which constitute the wall. So the stones not only signify the physical stones, but it is also important that you note how hard, how harsh and lifeless can someone become just by embracing the ideas that it is his which is the best, or it is the other side which is the worst. Means the otherization, if I can use this word, the other that comes into play, and that what makes matters, situations worst, that strengthens the wall, the construction of the wall. He moves in darkness, as it seems to me, not of woods only and the shade of trees. He will not go behind his father's saying, and he likes having thought of it so well. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. So he's telling that he moves in darkness. This darkness, as you see, I have marked here. This darkness is not simply the darkness of the caused by the shade of the trees. This darkness is also the darkness of the mind that the neighbor possesses. Ignorance. The darkness of the mind means ignorance. You have to be free to open yourself up, free to receive the ideas, no matter what. So if you are not willing to accept the challenges with an open mind, then well, it is very difficult. Not of woods only and the shade of trees. So again, a visual imagery comes into play. He will not go behind his father's saying. So he is not willing to disagree with his father, who says, and enjambment, as it is used here, which the line which moves on to the next line without a pause, and he repeats, and that is where we end the poem. He says again, good fences make good neighbors. So the fences, the gaps, the distance, the boundaries, the walls, these are symbolic, these are necessary according to the neighbor. And the poet has no other option but to stick to this, because probably he has to stay there, and whatever the reason is, that is secondary. But as far as the text goes, he concludes with these lines that probably there is some kind of an agreement, that he is finally convinced that yes, fences are necessary, walls are necessary, so that the relationship remains in place. So finally I would like to conclude by saying, as I have written also, so that you can understand it for better, for your better understanding, though the last words is spoken by the neighbor and there is a repetition, it may seem that the straightforward message that is conveyed by these lines is more to it. So this is not simply a matter of the fences physically, as I was telling earlier also. It goes beyond that, right? So that brings us to the end of the poem. I'm sure you will enjoy the poem thoroughly, and we are back after a gap. I hope to upload videos and feed the learner's mind with more such interesting updates. Do stay tuned to One Stop All Poetry Solution. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe and like and share our videos so that more of the learners can join One Stop All Poetry Solution, because we are slowly and steadily heading towards the 100 mark subscription. Thank you all who are staying tuned, and we are welcoming all those who are eager to learn, because you will find all good concepts here. We are working to improve the quality of the videos. Do stay tuned and keep supporting and motivating us. Happy learning.